Eric here with Cartridge World San Jose. For this presentation, I wanted to kind of change it up because every presentation I've done so far has been just packages and types of products and just the services that we've provided, and it's always constantly changed because we're always constantly growing and evolving due to the market and just adapting to what the customer needs. But for this presentation, what I wanted to do was actually just sort of like going down memory lane for me, just going back to when it all began and how it started for me, how I've been a part of Cartridge World, how Cartridge World evolved for us, and just through the years how it's changed. So I haven't really got the timing down. Hopefully I can get through this in the amount of time, because I found myself yesterday going through this and you just start reminiscing about the past events, and it just, you start going on these weird tangents and it throws off the timing, so hopefully it'll be good. Cartridge World San Jose, in 2007, it was actually Katie and Chris purchased the Cartridge World San Jose location and territory. They had a few different options, but they chose that location because it's San Jose. Just the name alone, territory, there's a lot of potential there. So that's one that they decided to pick. And it was a retail location. It was a small shop, and it was open basically for your normal retail consumer to come in and just get their ink cartridges. We're open Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday from 10 to 5, and we're working every single hour plus. So, yeah, we were busting our butts trying to get everything working smoothly and just trying to learn about business, because this was a crash course in business in general for us. Because I think, Katie, you went to school for marketing, and you were in the marketing team in Cartridge World Corporate. My brother he worked his way up from warehouse to working in the tech department in Cartridge World Corporate. So none of us has any business experience, so we were just thrust in this position and try to make it work. And when it started, what we did was just, we were refilling cartridges all day. People would walk in and we refill as you wait. That was the whole concept, because our main customer was your retail consumer. And back, I know it's not that long ago in 2007, but technology does change drastically over the years. The main focus on printers back then, it was targeted to your consumer that had digital cameras, because digital cameras, phones, this was booming. And what were you doing? You're taking pictures of your family, you wanted to print these, all the photos of your kids, and everything, right? So our the market basically was the consumer that we're printing for, just your family photos. And you're going through it non-stop, and you just need your ink to be refilled, have like a discounted rate on those cartridges, because you know how they were back in the day. But yeah, so we would refill anything and everything that people would come in. We didn't have a concept of keeping inventory or tracking inventory or anything in the beginning. Kind of got us in a little trouble in the beginning because we were just like spreading our arms way too wide, trying to just catch everything, instead of really, it's, you know, the whole jack of all trades, master of none type of deal. So we were doing everything, but we didn't really have a focus. But what happened was, I guess, yeah, Katie, being the entrepreneur she is, she started doing networking in the beginning, rubbing elbows with other business owners, and we started to see that there was a market selling to businesses. It was something that we didn't really do too much. Businesses would come to us, but we never really did sales. Never even thought about it really too much in the beginning. But yeah, we saw that there was a huge opportunity there. So it was actually Katie, she was the one that started doing the sales for us and going to all the network events and getting these huge companies. And then from there, it was basically, instead of refill while you wait, there was no way we can do that with the business. We did in the beginning, which is crazy to me, was we would go to companies, pick up their empties, bring them back to our shop, refill or remanufacture them, and then go back and drop them off. And that's just crazy. There's no way you can last doing that concept. So what we started to do was actually started doing fundraising campaigns with local schools and nonprofit organizations, just collecting empties, giving them money back or for everything that we could. And this way we were actually stockpiling empty cartridges where we would start to pre-fill. So we would start making all the remanufactured cartridges ready to go. So once we got those orders, it was just a delivery. And this was actually before Amazon, before everything, the same or the next day delivery, the Prime 2-day. We were doing deliveries same day.
You had Prime before Prime?
Before Prime.
Wow.
Yeah. They would call, we would be there in 2 hours.
Wow.
That's what we were doing. And
Wow.
it worked. We built a lot of relationships. And businesses that we were doing this with back then are still with us today. Because we were basically, we would do anything they needed, basically. We wanted to help. That was the whole thing. Like, we didn't really know like the business concepts, controlling inventory, sales, follow-ups, and all of that. But what we wanted to do was to help people. We knew how annoying it could be dealing with retail businesses, the big box stores, buying, finding products, returns. All of that stuff could be very annoying. So what we wanted to do was make everything simple. The buying process, whatever they needed at the time, we were willing to work with them. It's like some were cash on delivery, some were net 30, some were even net 60. yeah, whatever they wanted really. It was just building relationships. We were just trying to help people. Of course, that again, that can't last too long doing business like that. You just start going crazy after a while. But yeah, that was from 2007, 2008. They were doing it big, starting to turn the store around. And in 2009, they actually brought me aboard, straight out of college. Actually, it was a little bit after college. I actually went to college for animation and visual effects. So nothing to do with cartridges or anything about this. I didn't have a lot of work experience at the time. I think all I was doing at that point was I already graduated and I was actually training in Muay Thai a lot. And I actually had my last amateur fight in 2009, October. And right after that fight is when I joined them in December of 2009. And like I said, I had no work experience in the retail business. So when they brought me aboard, I had no idea what they wanted me to do, had no idea what I was doing. So the first thing that I did was I went to the store and they just gave me all the cartridges and I had to remember all of them. HP, Canon, Lexmark, Xerox, Samsung, all the numbers, what printers go to what. That way when customers ask, I could just do it off the top of my head. Instead of trying to wait, because that was one thing that, as you all know, the longer you make customers wait, the less likely they are to actually buy from you. So that's all I was doing. Started to work the cashier, started to actually get my hands in more of the business, doing the inventory management. Because we were pre-filling and remanufacturing cartridges before people came in, I had to control and know what the popular items were, learn how much we needed to keep on hand all the time so we never run out, and never overstock, because if you keep it on shelf too long, it just goes bad, you're wasting money. And then I actually learned how to drive in that beautiful van right there too. So I kind of grew up in the store. Yeah, I learned how to drive. I got my learner's permit, and I was actually learning how to drive in San Jose, dropping Katie off at her B&I groups in the morning. Accidentally almost going into the one-way lanes before the GPS. So yeah, And then a little bit after that, my other brother was brought aboard because Cartridge World Corporate actually moved locations. They used to be in Emeryville, Oakland, moved to Illinois, and there was no way he was going to go with them. So what he was doing before that was he was working at the warehouse and went up to being the manager. He got kind of bored of that position and moved over to the corporate side and was an inventory analyst. So he's like the guru with Excel spreadsheets and doing all of that and some crazy formulas and stuff. So when he came aboard, the first thing he did was, we had an NCR machine, which is a POS, point of sale system. We didn't really know how to use it because we were never really trained properly to pull all the reports. But what he did was actually go in, we took a day to actually just run through, put a bunch of formulas in and pull a bunch of reports. He brought them out on Excel spreadsheet and we started just to look. We kind of went a little too crazy because what we were doing was we actually went like all our sales, daily sales, monthly sales, and we actually did hourly sales of all the cartridges. We split it by all the different types of cartridges just to narrow down the inventory and when our peak hours were. And what we were finding was, even though we were open 6 days a week, that Saturday, when we had to employ somebody on that day, we were extremely negative. So just off of those reports, that's why we actually started to look at those numbers and hours and saw that even though we were open from 9 to 7, most of our customers were coming in prior to going to work and coming to the store right after they got off of work. So why are we open these weird hours when nobody's really utilizing them? So we actually changed our hours. We got rid of the Saturday, changed Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. just to match their hours, which helped out a lot, especially for our sanity, because we were working all of those hours. Plus, there's days where we're working 10, 12-hour days because the crazy pickup empties remanufactured just to drop them right back off. In order to do that, we would have to pull some crazy hours. And then also what happened in that 2010, 2011 area was the market started to change. A lot of the big manufacturers started to take a look and started to see that there was a lot of opportunity with printing. So you had companies like HP, Lexmark, Samsung, they started to create new types of printers that utilize new and different types of supplies. What they wanted to do was create printers that can track everything that the consumer's doing, right? That's all you want to know. What is your customer doing? And so you can actually target them and, you know, sell to them. But what that did to us was they started to make printers with upgraded software, firmware that was in-depth, that can actually connect with the chips that they now put on the ink cartridges. And they all had date codes on them, which actually told you how much a person is printing, what they're printing, when they put the cartridge in, when they take the cartridge out. But they also started to target people like us that are actually using their product to actually make a business, you know, remanufacturing, refilling to sell. And what they did was, unbeknownst to us at the time, they started to actually do firmware updates, which you guys, nobody would see, because when you install the printer, all you do is yes, 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 oh, it's working now. But all of the yes, 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 check this box, it is actually saying, would you like us to automatically update your machine when it needs to be? And what they did was start sending out firmware updates monthly. So when we would refill these cartridges and you put it into the machine, 1 month it would work, the second month it stops. And what we were, the only way around it was for us to actually have people reinstall their machines or to backdate the firmware, which how are you going to be able to get a consumer to do that, especially over the phone? So there's just no way for us to kind of combat that. So that's when our ink sales started to slow, which was all right with us anyway, because profit-wise, it didn't make sense when they were making these machines. For consumers, the profit, like, we couldn't really help people. is the basic. So we started to actually deal more heavily in the desktop laser jet area, which is the toner cartridges, laser cartridges. Because that one we can actually control a lot more, and that's the one where businesses are normally getting this style of machine. When we did that, we actually,
Sorry.
sorry, that's pretty.
Sorry, stop. Why isn't it stopping?
I guess I'll try to pick it
I'm
up.
still
some,
learning how to lead. 5 more minutes.
I guess I'll pick it up so I can get through all these. So basically when that started happening, we were dealing with more desktop laserjet printers. What we wanted to do is provide a service for all the businesses, because what would we really be doing if all we're doing is selling a cartridge, right? There's no real thing that puts us out or separates us from the competition. So what we started to do was actually take classes in repair, maintenance, installation, so basic IT with your printers, because IT people, if you talk to them, they hate dealing with printers. Even though some of it is network problems, they just don't like doing it at all. They will actually say, no, it's just the printer, instead of actually fixing the network. So we would work with them to alleviate that issue that they were having, which gave us, I guess, more services and like it's just like a overall better business model. And what we also started doing at that time was changing our follow-up and sales systems, utilizing CRM systems. We went a little crazy in the beginning with Salesforce, which we really didn't need.
God, those guys are expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And we were only,
Oh.
yeah,
Here's
because
the
it was like, if
$1,000.
we're, well, it's issue
You
we
use
have
like
in our
that much of it,
family.
you know?
It's an issue we have in our family. If you want to get something, you go bigger. You know? Right, so, yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, Salesforce is the best. I'm going to get that. And it's like, even though we were only using a fraction of what it is
They
capable
only
of
plan on
doing,
buying a Chihuahua first.
we got a massive instead.
And we've all seen their dogs.
Yours is bigger than ours.
No, it actually goes beyond that, because it's even other animals. It's like we got box turtles, and then my dad said, instead of getting that, get an African cicada, which is this. So we still have that. We've had
A
that
turtle?
for 25.
That's a turtle?
It's tortoise.
150 pounds or so.
We had one that was 150 pounds, but it started to almost break down the fence, so we had to actually get it to a
Sanctuary.
zoo sanctuary.
It was a sanctuary. It was tortoise
We
sanctuary.
still have the female one, which is 65 pounds. We've had that since I was actually 4. So I'm still alive. Yeah, it's over 100 years. I guess I was sort of going. We were introducing new programs. Why buy a printer? Lease it. Some businesses were actually. It was ideal for them because they would go through printers like this because they're just using it way too much. So we were able to actually create printer bundles and just be able to do it without them having to actually put the money in to buy the machine up front, because that upfront cost can be ridiculous. Sort of like how the copiers were doing it for the huge businesses. We were doing that same sort of system with the medium and small businesses. We actually cut the retail and ink completely when we moved it. This is the new location, which was, or not new now, but after that first one. Which is a straight retail, and had a focus on printer repair, so I would strip down printers completely, put them back together. Anytime a new printer came out, I would just buy it and I would take it apart, put it back together. That's how I learned, just to keep up on things. Because all the printers, they're basically the same, but all they do is just change the wiring a little bit, just to kind of annoy you. It's all the same. Even the cartridges are pretty much the same, but they'll add a couple of nubs, so you can't put it in the new machine.
Wow.
So what I was doing to some clients, they were buying 2 different machines, but it had 2 different types of cartridges. I knew they were the same and would work the same, so I just said, here, let me see those cartridges, and I just modified them and said, there you go. And you can use the same cart, instead of buying 2 different separate sets, you just have that one set and it works for both.
Whoa.
So it helps on the inventory. You're not sitting on a bunch of inventory that can go bad, printers go bad, you're sitting on all of this. Now we also started doing that, like I said earlier, my brother was an inventory analyst, so he has all of that background. We started utilizing that with our current clients because none of them really have, it's doctors, dentists, offices, they're not really paying attention. It's just when I need something, I buy it, and I buy in bulk, go to Costco and just buy in bulk. So we started utilizing some of things that we knew to help them, like the inventory control. So yeah, and then this is some of the people that we work with that actually it's working for. We actually have a wide variety of programs, and what we do, the main thing that has always stayed true is the supplies. We always supply the toner cartridges, and from the toner cartridges, everything else branches out from that, depending on the actual customer. Because we have people that really don't need anything to people that need me there like once or twice a week. That's actually them. I have to go there later today and tomorrow.
I always hear their commercials. That's what
Sean
it is.
Dale Grand.
DG.
I was actually there when he was shooting one of the
Oh
commercials.
my god.
It's like I could have had a cartridge and
So that's what it is. That's what he's saying. It's like the letter D and the letter
yeah,
D.
DG, that's their name, the Dale Grand dealer group.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, because it started with his dad is the one that started it, and he brought his older brother who used to run it. Now he runs it, which is Sean. So that's a family business also. Yeah. Any questions?
Where's the printing? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Where's the printing industry moving towards next?
So there is a few different routes that people are taking. Some are actually getting out of it completely. Dell stopped supplying their own. They're not making their own printers anymore. They actually are outsourcing Xerox and Lexmark. Samsung sold their print division to HP. HP has recently stated that they're going to start slowing down on their ink and toner printing, and they want to focus more on the 3D printing. A lot of things are happening with, especially out here because it is the tech capital, right? So a lot of the new software gets implemented here first. And what's happening right now is the whole cloud and blockchain phenomenon that's going through. And of course it's security purpose, and that's the thing that needs to be ironed out first. But what a lot of people want to do is actually kind of move away from printing everyday stuff and move into doing specialty prints, which is your 3D printing. So that's where a lot of
I was actually going to ask about the 3D printing. So, specialty show that I was at, they had some set up and they were printing their parts, right?
Yeah.
So would it make sense that you would get into something like that where, because I'd imagine the hard part is how do you input the information?
So what you, yeah, so basically what they're doing right now, it's in the infancy still, they're still ironing out, but it actually goes back to my wheelhouse if we decide to proceed that way. It's a huge investment to do, but it's 3D technology, which that's what I went to school for, making 3D models. So that's something that I do, because that's what they have. The software that they run is actually, it's like CAD or something like that, and you design it. They also have new scanners, so it's no longer just the simple scanners. They actually have 3D scanners, so you can actually what hospitals are doing, which was I was a part of in UCSF. They brought me in, or me and a group of students that when I was in college, they went over some software that they wanted to implement. At the time, we were just newbies, green, so we couldn't really do anything for them. They needed some high-tech experts at this. But what they created scanners, and off of what is that? The body scan that you have, they actually it creates files of just slides, basically black and white, and it cuts your body up in just these millions of pictures. They created software that can input that into CAD or some other 3D program to make a full body scan. And what that is doing is it allows them to actually see, what they showed us was somebody who was suffering from cancer at the time in their throat, and it actually was able to cut through, and they could see where it was at and where it was tangling around the artery. So you can know exactly where to cut and go in and take it out. And also what they were using that for was people that after surgery had everything's gone, you can actually take the 3D models and actually print it out.
Yeah.
So it's crazy what it's going towards, because you can basically print out. They're actually, the food industries are actually trying out printed food, because what they want to do is,
That's very.
it's kind of sad, because what could happen is, because you know how minimum wage is going up on a lot of like, they want to, they could get rid of the employees basically if this goes through, because they have touch screen interfaces that you can order straight from there, and once you press that button and order it, it prints out food.
So like Star Trek.
Exactly. So you don't need
That's what I was
anybody
thinking.
to actually
So
interact
robots
with.
walking
All you
around.
need is an IT person that can actually fix the
When is
stuff.
Beam Me Up Scotty's gonna happen? I want that.
They actually
Get
I
from
don't,
here to there?
it was a rumor that they actually said that they were working on that sort of actually moving. They just said that they can do that, but they don't know how you're gonna end up when they do that. So
Oh,
your
right.
arm might be
And-
sticking out
And do you
somewhere
wanna-
else. And
Do you wanna be the test?
exactly. So.
I know. All right, thanks, Eric.